All right, so Black Clover chapter 278 just came out, and like it was dope, man. Jack's out here doing his thing, Noct is out here doing his thing, but I'm not really focused on what they're doing right now. It's really cool, but a lot of my brain power, a lot of my brain juice is going to what Charlotte has been doing in chapter 277. And what I mean by that is she modified her soul, or she reshaped her soul. And I know what y'all probably thinking, it's like, Squad, you always got some harebrained thing going on. You always talking some nonsense. Let me just break it down for y'all real quick. This really won't be much of a video, but just something that I've been noticing, something that I just really kind of want to talk about today. As I was reading the chapter, and it just started making more sense of how mana method is being applied here. Seeing is that I had to go back and read some other manga chapters. I had to go back and look at some other episodes in the anime and really kind of deduce where I was going with this thought that I was having, just to make sure that I wasn't really off the mark on this. So going back to the elf reincarnation arc, what we realized, well, when they show us that Vengeance is also possessed by Patry. So when Patry awakens and he's like, hey, he sees his grimoire, he realizes that the hands that he has, he starts to realize that he's in somebody else's body and that he can't use their grimoire, and he explicitly states, I can't use this grimoire because it's chosen the soul within his body, the other soul that's within his body. So that was the first indication of that grimoires not only just pick the individuals, but they pick them based on their souls. Moving on to after the elf reincarnation arc, when Asta's been tasked with finding, you know, more information about the devils and to kind of clear his name and different things like that. We end up talking with Yami, ends up talking with Charlotte, and we find out that the curse that was put on her, it changed the shape of her soul. And she uses these words exactly. She says, the curse that was put on me changed the shape of my soul, therefore changing my magic. And so that was something that I was like, huh, we might have to come back to this. I remember reading that chapter when it came out and seeing it's just pretty much being like, this is going to be a point we're going to come back to, because people just like what I've noticed in Black Clover, like dialogue like that doesn't just come out and just disappear. So I was like, all right, let me put a pin in this, because after I read chapter 277, these two things immediately popped up in my head. So I was like, either I'm just looking way too deep into things, or it's along the lines of I should be connecting these dots. So yeah, and so I started looking at different things like that, and then I started seeing how she was applying mana method to her magic. And everybody saw this, but it just, for me, with those things being in the back of my mind, I'm like, all right, it's we got something going here. Things are moving and shaking in the Black Clover universe. So when she uses her mana methods and she's modifying her magic, and which is pretty cool, because it was exactly what they need to go ahead and take on for Nika. And then when she hit us with the true Briar magic, she gave us her Goku and this is to go even further beyond like moment in Black Clover, which I thought was hilarious, by the way, because as I was reading the chapter, I just bust out laughing at that particular point, like that particular panel. And we see that she's able to use her true magic, and she can use red and blue roses basically. And as I read the chapter and as I was reading through that, I'm like, wait. So she's reshaping her soul to do this, right? And so I was like, nah, that's crazy. Like, that's, you can't, mages can't do that. But then it all started coming together for me. So following the rules that we have when it comes to different mana or mana methods or different ways people use mana, and I'll just kind of touch on a few right now, because when we like reinforcement magic, it pretty much sticks to the same rules of mana. You know, it's just gonna buff your physical stats, easy stuff. We ended up seeing like Mana Skin and Mana Zone when Mary Leona shows up, and I'm like, okay. And she set the bar pretty high, because I mean, like, not too many people can use Mana Zone. Even still at this point in the story, it may be like 8 or 9 people who can use Mana Zone properly. And like I said, she set the bar very high in the display she used Mana Zone with to fight the elves. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is like top tier stuff. It's not gonna get any crazier than this. And then, you know, but that still follows the same pretty much principles that mana has had throughout the entirety of the story so far. But then we get into the Heart Kingdom's mana method and using arrays to, which I thought, I'm not sure. This is something that when they involved it initially, I thought it was pretty cool, because just for me, the arrays and the mana method, that looks dope. Like, that looks really, really dope. And so I'm glad to see that that's going to be staying, and that's a very, very like pivotal part in the journey that these mages are having throughout their life. So the mana method shows up, and as God just explaining what happens, he's saying that, yeah, we use these to not only just boost our magic, but we use these to give our magic instructions, you know, grow bigger, go faster, follow a target, etc. And then he further explains that using these, you can actually you can summon the literal element that's your affinity. And I was like, oh, okay, so he's using real light. He's using magic to summon real lightning. That's really, really dope. Like, I thought that was the top. You know what I mean? I thought that was like, you can't get any better at this than summoning the actual element itself. But then we have Charlotte here, who was like, oh, so you summoning real stuff? Now don't watch this. Being able to reshape her soul to how it needs to be to use her true magic. That's something we've never seen before. Because at one point, I just thought once you're affected with the curse, you're just affected with that curse unless it can be broken. But up until this point, curses have not really been broken in the Black Clover universe, other than Asa's arm, but we don't know what level of curse that actually was. You know what I mean? So we've had like one-off instances of curses in the story, and this one was one that was explained to us. So it's like, okay, you're using the mana method, you're using the arrays to give the instruction of the mana to reshape your soul to give you a boost in power, which I feel like is really, really cool. But I also feel like it's a double-edged sword, because I don't feel like your soul should be something that you should just be manipulating and reshaping. Your soul shouldn't be that malleable. And so I feel like it's one of those situations where she's gonna get a lot of power. She's basically the hard counter to Vanika at this point, and that's very, very necessary for the cause of what they're doing, you know, trying to stop the ritual, trying to just disperse and defeat the Dark Triad. But I also feel like at some point, you know, payment has to come due for tapping into power like that, that's affecting your being at its core like that. You're seeing that it's just again, the form is cool, her being able to use true magic is cool, her being, you know, at the forefront of this battle is very, very cool. And I feel like that's something that's that I just really took note of, because we don't really get to see her do too many things. And so seeing a chapter that's for the most part focus on her and focus on what she's been doing the past 6 months, it's really, really refreshing to see that. And I just think that I'm waiting for the other shoe to fall based on this, what I would think would be experimental magic, because like I said before, we haven't seen anything like this. And just let me know what you guys think about this. This is going to be a shorter video, but it was just something that I saw that I just really wanted to talk about. I just hadn't had a chance to sit down and do it until now. But what do you guys think about the mana method, the malleable soul thing that I got going on? Just give me your thoughts. If you guys enjoyed this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this video, and I will holler at y'all later. I'm out. Peace.